Legends. Long have legends inspired people the world over. For in legends, we see the worlds of the impossible unfold before us.
Heroic quests, horrific monsters, gods, magic, tales of the valiant and the villainous. But more than that, in legend, we see ourselves reflected in the stories we tell.
I'm William Stark.
And I'm Omar Timsaw.
And we are D&D Legends and Lore. Join us as we explore the fantastic lore of the world's most popular tabletop RPG.
You can find D&D Legends and Lore on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts can be found.
Greetings, salutations. Wow. Welcome to our very first Watcher's Diary, a concept conceptualized by Jenny Owen Youngs.
You know how I'm always conceptualizing concepts, Kristin? That's kind of my bag. That's one of my favorite things to do.
You're great at it, you know? We have a couple things for you in this little mini-sode today. First of all, we didn't give you our world-renowned segment, What Was Dawn Doing, in the first...
It's been a snowball rolling down Grinch Mountain. It is picking up speed and heat. And, you know, it's taken on a life of its own. It's become its own little microverse. So we had to scoot it on over into the Watcher's Diary this week. This month,
we needed more space. We simply needed more space. So we're going to go into What Was Dawn Doing first. And then we have some listener emails. I mean, we have so many listener emails. And the thing about it is, like, in our first run through the series, right, we would do mailbag episodes. They'd be like an hour long and we'd put in as many emails as we could. And that was fun and great. But we lost so many beautiful, brilliant emails along the way because there's only so many times that Jenny and I can sit down and record for an hour plus. So we thought, hey, what if we pick the gems from the pile and read them in little mini-sodes?
And write them in our Watcher's Diary.
Exactly. So, you know, this season we'll have a handful of Watcher's Diaries, perhaps. And then if we like them, maybe we'll do them every week. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll do them on our off weeks.
We like them. If you like them.
Yeah.
If you like us.
Do you like us? Write in our Watchers. You know how sometimes with your best friend you like write in their diary? If you like us, will you write in our Watcher's Diary? Tell us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, how does that work with a good friend and diary sharing?
I think a best friend has immediate access to write in a good friend's diary, whereas a good friend has to ask permission.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds right to me.
In
for
a best
sure.
friend's diary. If you want to email us your gem of an email for a future Watcher's Diary, or, you know, we sometimes read them in the pod as well. It just depends on how it all shakes out.
Your gem of Emilia.
Oh, nice. Gem of Emilia.
I'm having fun.
You can write to us at hello@bufferingcast.com. And for now, let's get into what was Dawn doing in the episode Angel.
Was she at the mall? Was she at ballet? Was she drawn on a trapper keeper all day? Was she nursing a crush on a boy from PE? Was she writing it all down in her diary? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing?
Jenny, a lot of thoughts on what,
yes.
as you would expect, because Angel has been in the house, in the Summers household for...
Shirtless,
but also he's just there the whole time. She's at school. Buffy's at school.
Oh my
You know what I mean?
God.
There's a lot of downtime. So
yeah. Do you think, here's a thing. I can't imagine that Angel, like, doesn't wear cologne.
Oh no, he has to be covered. Can vampires? They can smell really well.
Axe body spray.
But I was like, vampires can smell really strongly though, so he would have for sure been Axe body spray, but I don't know. That might kill a vampire, actually.
Okay, maybe Liam would have been
Yes.
Axe body spray if he were born at a different time. But maybe Angel is like, couldn't you see Angel like making his own scent?
He's like, has a little like bunch of jars of scents that he blends.
I'm picturing
together.
an Erlenmeyer flask. I'm picturing a Bunsen burner and some beakers.
Wow.
I'm picturing a collection of herbs.
Going for the purest sense of like pine that he can possibly establish, or maybe it's like a fire, like a smoky kind of a smell, since he loves fire so much, you know.
Oh my God, yeah.
Wow. Well,
all that to say, Dawn could detect, perhaps.
Stay tuned for What Was Angel Doing on our upcoming segment. Okay, so be cologned. Does that work? Angel is up in the Summers household. Besented.
Please.
Oh, yes, much better. Mad About It says, Angel stays in the Summers house for a day before the kiss. Did he and Dawn play Scrabble after school? Citrione, nice job naming your Discord username the thing that we can't say. Touche.
Rude.
Replies, Angel playing Scrabble would only put down words from old French literature, and Dawn would probably get bored of challenging every turn. Katie says, I feel like Angel unprompted gave Dawn advice about boys, and Dawn, being 10-ish years old, said, ew, boys. And Angel was like, yeah, boys are gross. I also feel like Angel got emotional. Oh, this is a hard turn from Katie. I also feel like Angel got emotional because Dawn reminded him of his younger sister, Kathy. But when she asked him why he looked so sad, he was like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Sad, Katie. Sad.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to Kristin with an I. Your story for the day on What Was Dawn Doing. Are you prepared, Jennifer Owen Youngs?
I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Dawn is doing homework at the gallery while her mom works late. When they get home, Dawn darts out of the car ahead of Joyce and upstairs before Buffy intercepts Joyce at the door. Dawn is disinterested in their conversation until she hears the sound of a man's voice. Buffy had a boy over? Alone? Dawn listens, out of sight, at the top of the stairs as Buffy says an obviously fake goodbye. Come on, Mom. Seriously, Joyce. To her boyfriend. She waits until she hears Buffy's door closing and quietly stations herself outside. Did he just say that his family was killed by vampires? The next morning, Dawn repeatedly gives Buffy the I know your secret look, while Buffy feigns ignorance. That night during dinner, Dawn pieces together that this mysterious man is in Buffy's room again by watching Buffy race through dinner and back up to her room with a plastic bag of leftovers. Seriously? Get it together, Mom. Dawn is eager to catch Buffy red-handed, so she quickly tells Joyce she's done, darts upstairs, and barges into Buffy's room just in time to see Buffy kissing a boy.
Santa Claus.
The sight of Dawn bursting through the door causes Angel to abruptly turn away from the kiss, and when he turns back, this yellow-eyed, fanged man looks nothing like anything Dawn has ever seen before. Dawn runs back to her room, afraid. Buffy later comes into Dawn's room and tries to comfort her and reassure her that what she saw on the man's face was just a trick of the light. The next day, Buffy is relieved to learn that Dawn, who's been asking questions, gets invited to a sleepover at Janice's house. During the sleepover, Janice's mom gets a call from the hospital, and Dawn learns that her mom fainted and fell onto a barbecue fork. Dawn thinks this is weird because they don't have a barbecue fork. When Dawn later sees Joyce's wounds on her neck, she begins to doubt that what she saw on Buffy's boyfriend's face was just a shadow and has a sinking feeling that maybe vampires are real.
Wow.
Dawn has a really important story, and it's so great that we are finally sharing it here with the masses, you know?
You heard it here first.
Simply delightful.
Also, can I share something with you?
Mm-hmm. Please.
Okay. Thinking about Angel and his scents got me wondering, what's the difference between perfume and cologne anyway? And according to the results of a quick and dirty Googling I just performed, I have some data that I think is like pretty interesting.
Great. Difference between cemeteries and graveyards already cracked. Difference between perfume and cologne up next.
Yeah. Like so many things in our world, fragrance actually exists on a spectrum. It involves, the spectrum like is concerned with the concentration of oils or fragrance within the product. And then there's like a sort of correlation to the duration of the scent. Okay, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so perfume has a 20 to 30% oil concentration or fragrance concentration. It lasts up to 8 hours. Eau de parfum has a 15 to 20% and lasts a little less. Eau de toilette.
Oh, these are all different things.
I know. Has a 5 to 15% concentration and lasts maybe like 4 hours. Eau de cologne has a 2 to 4% concentration and looks like it lasts like 3 hours. I don't know what this is, but eau fraiche?
Eau fraiche.
Sorry. I'm so sorry if anyone speaks French, especially Angel. I'm so sorry. Eau fraiche is a 1 to 3% concentration and lasts less than 2 hours. So how about that? There's a whole gradient. I had no idea. I just thought it was boys and girls.
Me too. And
that's
I
the way
would
the
have
world is
guessed.
shaped.
I would have really guessed that cologne was stronger than perfume. And that's probably based on my misperception that men are stronger than women.
Yeah.
They're always saying this for her. But really, ladies wearing perfume be wearing the strongest scents. So
Strong enough for a man, pH balanced for Angel.
Well, thank you, Jenny, for teaching us all something. And
Happy
thank
to
you,
help.
Dawn, for continuing to persevere in the Summers
yeah.
household. All right. So on to forward and into email land. So these are just some recent emails that are too delightful not to share. Jenny, the first one is short, sweet, but it made me guffaw so loudly. We were recently discussing who knows what, and you brought up the television show Seventh Heaven. And you said, I just sort of remember that there was a brother and a sister, and they were like practicing kissing.
Yeah, this probably came up as I have a feeling we were talking about the Folgers Christmas commercial.
Great. Well, whatever
the
brought us
Folgers
there.
Christmas commercial, the Folgers brother-sister Christmas commercial, You're My Present This Year, was so popular that they actually adapted it into a hour-length dramatic series, Seventh Heaven.
Well, Shelby, our listener Shelby wrote in, "Hello. It is with a heavy heart that I can confirm that a plot point..." I know. It's good. That a plot point in Seventh Heaven is that two teen siblings attempt to practice kissing on each other. With an even heavier heart, I can confirm that this occurs in the pilot episode. Condolences, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby. Oh, no.
I couldn't wait for that one. It was too important. It was too critical. And then Jenny, I have a really interesting email on Malleus Maleficarum, which is a book that I kind of very terrified described briefly and asked for help with. And so luckily someone helped and they were very nice about it. And then I have two that are hyena and wild dog related. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Maybe I'll start with the hyenas and the wild dogs and end with Malleus Maleficarum for us.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So Flynn writes in, "I was listening to the Pack episode and you called the dogs Willow was watching African wild dogs. Due to the perception that the word wild has, there's been a movement to call them African painted dogs based on the beautiful patterns on their bodies. They
do have beautiful patterns on their bodies.
They do. And because that terminology, wild, has often made them a target, they're not hunters, they're scavengers, and it's caused them to be hunted to the endangered status."
No.
I know.
Hunt hyenas to the endangerment status. They look like creeps. African painted dogs are beautiful little cuties.
Hey, we're barely hanging on to our hyena listenership over here, Jenny. You cut it out right now. One neat thing about painted dogs is that due to how sweet they are, there's loads of studies about them and their pack mentality. One is that they're incredibly loving, so to speak. There's been countless instances of painted dogs losing limbs, going blind, going deaf, and the pack continues to care for them. They also mourn and even bury their dead, digging graves and putting the bodies into them.
You guys.
I know. Flynn says if you want to find some adorable videos of painted dogs, check out the Oregon Zoo. They say they're my favorite. They're my absolutely favorite animal of all time, so I can spend an hour just sitting there and watching them, especially when there were puppies born in January of 2020. There's videos of them rolling around in snow in Oregon in 2020 at the Oregon Zoo. So, probably stop listening to the pod. Just go and watch those videos.
Get out of here.
Nothing we could ever do or say would ever be as cute as that. Thank you, Flynn. Okay, Jenny. This was from Discord, and the pack episode, you were like, I have more information on hyenas, and I don't know if this is just for us, or maybe I don't know if you're going to leave it in the pod. I did leave it in the pod. It was the discussion about like them being labeled as like hermaphroditic animals and like, blah, blah, blah. Victoria has some clarification.
Okay.
Victoria says, fun fact about hyenas. While they're not hermaphroditic, female spotted hyenas have pseudo-penises. It's kind of a vagina-clitoris hybrid. And what this does is make them dominant over the males. Mating cannot happen without their consent, basically, because they have to turn the pseudo-penis inside out. Kind of like how a penis gets turned into a vagina during gender-affirming surgery, in order for the male to mate with her. It's pretty fucking rad. And likely where the, quote, hyenas are hermaphroditic misconception comes from.
Wow.
Yeah. Good shit. Really good shit. I read that and was like, holy shit. And a lot of people in the Discord were also like, oh, hell yeah. Someone said, wait, are you telling me that more than two sexes exist if we look at the science? Funny how that happens. So just delightful hyena and wild dog content here. And Jenny, Malleus Maleficarum, are you ready for this email?
I'm so ready.
Madison writes in, I'm a history PhD student specializing in early modern, so 1450 to 1750 European history of science and medicine. While magic is not my specialty, during this period, magic, science, and religion were inextricably intertwined. As such, I've become very familiar with the witch trials. These trials, sometimes known as the witch craze, were not a medieval phenomenon, but an early modern one. The same period of the Reformation, Scientific Revolution, and early Enlightenment, which are all taken to be hallmarks of supposed progress, was also rife with fear, paranoia, and persecution. Published in 1487, but written in 1486 in what is now Germany, the Malleus Maleficarum, or the Hammer of Witches, that really gives you an idea of what's happening in this book, was essentially a witch finder manual. In the Holy Roman Empire, of which modern-day Germany was a part of, the witch trials were a lot more extreme. As Kristin mentioned, the papacy, is that how you say that word, papacy?
I think so.
Did not authorize Kramer and Sprenger to write this book. However, Gutenberg's printing press came about during the 1440s, so the book's popularity stemmed from its ability to be widely circulated through this new technology. The authors included a papal bull, or a decree from the Roman Catholic Church at the beginning of the book to make it look like the Pope had given them this authority. The bull was likely informed by the quite famous biblical justification for the trials, quote, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," end quote. Exodus 22:18. Witches, as we know them today, share similar features with their early modern iteration, but there are also differences. When Giles mentions this book, it's likely he's referring to one of the many ideas, but the most likely one is the witch's ability to harness the power of the devil to transform people into different forms. To avoid making this email any longer, I'll stop with the history lesson there. But I think it's important to note that both of the authors of this infamous book were university trained, and indeed, Sprenger was dean of the University of Cologne, not to be confused with the cologne and perfume debate in the last episode of ours. And Kramer was a professor. The witch trials were a lot more complex than is than is often thought, and understanding them involves understanding the period's religion, philosophy, educational systems, and developments.
Wow.
The kind of clarity that I long for. And, many of you, I'm sure, have been with us for a long time, and you know what this audience, this listenership, this community is like. But if you're just joining us on this second journey through, I can't say enough about what emails we receive. It is like a joy and delight. It's like I know this is a wild concept, but it's like I'm going to college for free. You know what I mean? Like I just get to learn so much.
We're so blessed to have the listenership that we have.
We are. And, as always, write to us at hello@BufferingsCast with your emails and your feedback, and we'll keep asking questions. Sometimes I feel like, Jenny, I'm worried about mentioning something that I haven't, done all the research on, or at least, that was sort of my mindset in the first run through, in the beginning few seasons, I don't think I cared about anything because I didn't know what a podcast was. But once I learned what a podcast was, I was like, should I mention this? Because I haven't had enough time to do the research. But I think, starting this run, it's been really fun to actually say, I didn't have time to do all the research on this. Does anyone know some stuff? And so we'll keep doing stuff like that, because reading your emails is one of the biggest delights of our collective lives, I think, if I may speak for you. May I speak for you?
You may. It's truly a gift. Real light in my life. So thanks. Thanks for your emails.
Thanks for your emails. We can do whatever we want here. It's our podcast, so maybe we'll come back with some more little mini-sodes of your emails, and sometimes they come up in conversation in the main pod, but just how to get these off of our chest and into your ears. That's weird, but you know what I mean.
What do you say at the end of a Watcher's Diary entry? Sincerely, Jenny Owen Youngs. Very best.
Yes. Very best. Kristin Russo.
Excellent.
I'm Amy Nicholson, the film critic for the LA Times.
And I'm Paul Scheer, an actor, writer, and director. You might know me from The League, Veep, or my non-eligible for Academy Award role in Twisters.
We love movies, and we come at them from different perspectives.
Yeah, like Amy thinks that, Joe Pesci was miscast in Goodfellas, and I don't.
He's too old. Let's not forget that Paul thinks that Dune 2 is overrated.
It is.
Anyway, despite this, we come together to host Unspooled, a podcast where we talk about good movies, critical hits,
fan favorites, must-sees, and in case you missed them.
We're talking Parasite to Home Alone.
From Grease to The Dark Knight.
We've done deep dives on popcorn flicks. We've talked about why Independence Day deserves a second look.
And we've talked about horror movies, some that you've never even heard of, like Ganja and Hess.
So if you love movies like we do, come along on our cinematic adventure.
Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to hit the follow button.